Hi everybody, my name is Rich Frascone, and I'm here to introduce you to Who's Telling the Truth, the show where we want to dig into the media's questions and find out if they're being factual or fictional. We need your help. We need to find out who's telling the truth. Hey everybody, Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Today's show is show number 27, and it's on psychics and frauds. And today's date is damn it. Today's date. Let's see. Can anybody now I gotta guess what day is today. Can anybody tell me what day is today?
Uh-oh.
Thank
Guess
you.
what day it is? Julie. Huh? Julie. Huh? Guess what day it is? Julie. Huh? Julie. Huh? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Anybody? Anybody? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Anybody? Anybody? Mike. Huh? What day is it, Mike? Huh? Woo-hoo! Mike. Huh? What day is it, Mike? Huh? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Leslie, guess what today is? Leslie, guess what today is? Leslie, guess what today is? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hump day! Woo-hoo!
It's hump day.
Hump day! Woo-hoo!
All right, we're back. Hey guys, I'm sorry, I had to do it. I love the commercial, but you know what I'm really curious about? I'd love to see the guy that does the voice of the camel. I mean, he's got $1 million voice. And, you know, there's other things that I'd like to know, like what the voice of Homer Simpson, what that guy looks like. You know, and I'll tell you, when I first moved to Connecticut, I grew up in New York. And the radio DJs and the TV people, they were kind of like gods back in the 60s. You know, I mean, you listen with a reverent, you know, wow, it's on the radio, he's on TV, it was magical. Well, when I moved to Connecticut, I'm listening to I-95 one day, and they're having, you can come out and meet the DJ. It was they were selling cars, or I forget what they were doing, but I said, I want to go meet the DJ. So I've got this idea. This guy's got a beautiful voice, and I tell you, it was when I first met Ethan Carey. And if there's one thing Ethan Carey's been doing in Danbury for very good for the last 30 years is he gives good radio. I mean, he really does. So here I am, I'm gonna go meet him, and I expect to see this big, strapping, handsome guy with black hair and just go. And well, if you know Ethan Carey, he's not that type of. I'm not gonna throw any stones, but you get the idea. And that's why I wanted to play the clip, just to raise the question of who does the camel's voice? And whose voices are you listening to when you hear this stuff? But guys, tonight we got a good show. Tonight, we've got some exciting news from Tesla. Tesla outdid itself again. And then after Tesla, we're gonna be capitalist for a little while. And then we're gonna introduce you to to James Randi, formerly known as the Amazing Randi. And what this guy has done for humanity, for the betterment of humanity, I tell you, when you see how he exposes the psychics and the frauds, and guys, you know which way the show is gonna go. Because otherwise I would have had psychics and miracle workers. But we're gonna expose the frauds. Why? Because the most important thing we wanna find out on this show is who's telling the truth. So we're gonna look at the Amazing Randi, we're gonna look at his career, and then we're gonna watch him bada bing Sylvia Browne. I mean, when I say bada bing, I mean she's gonna wish that she never got into the business. I mean, she's a disgrace to humanity. So we're going to look at Sylvia Brown. And then the amazing Randi has $1 million challenge. And we're going to show you how that works. And we're going to show you James von Prague and his psychic abilities and what a fraud he is. And we're going to show you how these guys do it and how they use this and how they take advantage of the weak, gullible, simple folk that watch this crap. And I mean, it's sad that they take advantage of people, and that's why we're here. We surround ourselves with question marks because we always ask the question, who's telling the truth? Where did you get your information? What are your sources? Guys, it's really simple. All right, now, for the good news, Tesla has done it again and again and again, but now the safest car made in the world is the Tesla Model S. As a matter of fact, in the 5 safety test ratings that they have, it scored a 5 in every category. No car has ever done that before. And in addition, when they went to flip the Tesla over for the overhead rollover thing, it broke the machine because there's never been a car as heavy as the Tesla. All the battery pack is, the center of gravity is underneath the center of the car. That's why everybody loves it, that and the electric motor. So, John, we're going to show we're going to show the crash test. And guys, some of you might want to cover your eyes because you're going to see a beautiful Tesla run into a concrete wall. So this might hurt some people, but John, let's show the report.
Tesla says its battery-powered Model S set a record for the lowest likelihood of injuries to occupants in recent crash tests. The electric car company, based in Palo Alto, California, and led by billionaire Elon Musk, says the Model S exceeded the safety score of all cars and trucks on U.S. roads, including sports utility vehicles and minivans tested by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The electric car does not have a front engine block, giving it a longer crumple zone that allows the vehicle to absorb high-speed impacts more effectively than its gas-powered rivals. The Model S comes with a starting price of $70,000 US before a federal tax credit. The company sold 5,150 cars in the second quarter and expects to sell 21,000 cars this year.
Guys, the news keeps getting better and better, and we're challenging Judy on the camera here. But anyway, we're going to look at the Tesla stock. We're going to be capitalists for a minute now. And we're going to look at the Tesla stock. This was 2 weeks ago. The stock was at $143 a share. Okay, just look at that impressive growth. Look at how the volume has increased on the stock. But anyway, through the magic technology of who's telling the truth, watch what's happened to the stock. Bada bing, 164, guys. Actually, the stock hit 172 today before it backed off. So you talk about success. All right, and the other thing, we're going to go to Solar City. And Solar City's been struggling a little bit. Last week it was at 45. And this week, it's at 35. So this could be a buying opportunity. It all depends how you look at this stuff. But the Solar City's tripled since it's came out, and Tesla has, I think, quadrupled. So I guess that says enough about Elon Musk. But guys, we also want to look at Mary Lou's house. This is the solar production for the month of August on her house. And I mean, she's doing terrific. And if we come down to this chart here, it looks, and we still have one more week. We still have one more week of August to go here. It looks like August is going to eclipse July, and then we'll probably, as the days start to get shorter, we're going to see a decrease. But once again, guys, 81% of the electricity that Mary Lou is getting up in New Fairfield is coming from the sun. All right, I'm going to sit back down now. All right, we'll go to the other camera. How we doing? Judy, you're getting good. No, you could stay there. That's fine. That's fine. All right. So, guys, what we're going to talk about today is the amazing Randi. And what he's done is he's an accomplished magician. He's been in the business over 50 years. And we're going to start off by more or less just introducing him to you. So this way you get an idea. He's now like just a kind, lovable old guy. But you're going to see him through his career. So, John, let's roll the first clip, and it's called A Dishonest Liar.
My father only spoke to me twice in my entire life. Perhaps it was because I was born out of wedlock. I was a bastard. I didn't go to school. I had free time to myself. So I went in to see a vaudeville show with Harry Blackstone. I saw him actually cause a lady to float in the air. I was captured, and it changed my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of introduction, this is a film about trickery, fraud, about lies.
Sunday, Monday, happy days.
Hey, who is the amazing Randi?
Who is the amazing Randi? Here he is, the amazing Randi.
Randi is an honest liar. He says he's going to deceive you, and then he does. I'm not going to tell you I have supernatural powers. I'm going to tell you I'm totally normal, which actually makes it more exciting.
He has managed to span several different worlds. He's not always the same thing.
He was a world-famous magician. He was really a kind of Superman.
Escapes from straitjackets, from burning robes over Niagara Falls, buried under the ice. He beat Houdini's record of being buried in a coffin.
Randi, you've been going around the country somewhat as Houdini used to in the past, trying to debunk those who say that it's psychic power. You say it's magic.
People like Randi are doing a huge service by unmasking these fakes, mountebanks, and charlatans. What you need is somebody who's an expert deceiver in his own right.
The great trinity of magic, skepticism, and science, I had not fully appreciated until I saw James Randi do his routines.
And I saw him on The Tonight Show when he did the thing where he debunked Popoff.
Popoff was allegedly hearing the voice of God, and he would go around his congregation and tell people amazing things about themselves.
You've got cancer of the stomach? Are you ready for God to burn that cancer out?
He had them come out of the audience and throw their pills up on stage.
Throw them up there.
And we discovered that the man was wearing, of all things, a hearing aid in his left ear. The man who heals the deaf and the blind isn't going to have much use for a hearing aid, one would think. We discovered that someone is sitting at a transmitter backstage.
Who is Harold?
What Randi did was to tune into the same frequency, and that allowed us to hear the voice of God.
Okay, she was at 4267 Masterson.
4267 Masterson, I can see the angels of God all around your house.
That's disturbing when you see it.
He breaks down the people he's uncovered as to as tight a degree as he can, showing all their methodologies and all of their tricks.
Up to your old tricks, I see.
Why not? I'm a charlatan.
This ability to figure out when someone's trying to fool you is of enormous value. And James Randi is the past master, perhaps the world's foremost authority on how to do that.
I am God.
The solution is rather simple.
All of these people who say that they can speak with the dead are like vultures.
Oh, no, that doesn't come out.
I just ingested 6.5 days worth of homeopathic sleeping pills.
Do you believe in God?
Which God?
Or any God?
Any God? No, I don't. I don't have compelling evidence that convinces me there is a deity.
Gee, I bet you don't believe in the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus either.
Well, I'm looking into Santa Claus.
This is what I call home now. And I'm rather pleased with it, rather pleased with it. The neighbors are across the canal, so I'm sufficiently separated, and they're very, very happy about that, too.
Our pal, James Randi, scammed us out of lunch quite a few times. Here's how he did it. Randy? I had never considered the possibility that magic could be done morally. You didn't have to lie to do magic. It was a brand new idea. I have said many times, I don't mind saying it again, that if it weren't for Randy, there would be no Penn and Teller.
He is the most lovable, avuncular.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Gracious and generous, sweet granddad.
Which reminds me when I toured with Alice Cooper.
And yet, he pulls no punches when talking about his life's work.
See, I've always had my battle with the psychics, people who are stealing money from the public. Magicians don't lie to people. Magicians are the most honest people in the world. They tell you they're going to fool you, and then they do it.
Lies. Tell it by the fireside or in a marketplace or in a movie. Almost any story is almost certainly some kind of lie.
You know, guys, what can you say? I mean, just look at the honesty and the credibility that this guy has. I mean, he tells you he's gonna fool you, and then he does it. Now, you know, being a magician, there's so many, you know, when I was growing up, my father would always tell me, go, Rich, believe nothing. When somebody tells you something, believe nothing of what people tell you, and only believe half of what you say. And I used to say, Pop, I can understand why you're telling me don't believe what people tell me. That makes sense. But if I see it, I gotta believe it. He said, Rich, you ever see a magician make an elephant disappear? And I, yeah. He goes, do you really think the elephant disappeared? I go, okay. And you know, that could be a real problem if you were a magician. Can you imagine if you keep making elephants disappear? Where do you get more elephants? I mean, there's very few elephant stores. We need more elephants. He keeps making them disappear. Hey, tell the magician he's got to move down to rabbits. We can afford the rabbits. And what about the magician that made the airplane disappear? The guy made a whole big airplane disappear. How do you explain that to the insurance company? You imagine the adjuster coming. So what happened? All of a sudden, the plane was here 1 minute, and then it disappeared. Wait, I don't have a boxer. It just disappeared. Guys, so anyway, they're out to hose you. But at least guys like Randi and Penn and Teller will tell you they're gonna hose you. And that's the beauty of it. You know, you're in on it. You know what's going on. And I tell you, they're so good. The way they do it is just phenomenal. But there are things that are not good. And the one thing about the amazing Randi is he puts his money where his mouth is. And he's got $1 million challenge to anybody that can prove they have psychic or supernatural abilities. He's got a fund with $1 million. You prove it, you walk away with the $1 million. So far, it's been open since, I think, 1965. Nobody's ever taken the money. But let's take a look at the clip and you'll get an idea of how the $1 million challenge works. John?
A violinist can play the violin, I would say. You know, a dentist can fix teeth.
Volume.
But the psychics, they apparently can't do this sort of thing.
If James Randi looks familiar, maybe you've seen him before. He's a career magician who's done thousands of appearances on stage and screen over the last 50 years. But these days, his claim to fame isn't making things disappear. it's making fakes disappear. Over the last decade, Randi has challenged dozens of would-be psychics, faith healers, prophets, and purveyors of all manners of products. His challenge is simple. Prove it, and I'll make you rich.
I'm willing to be shown $1 million worth of willing to be shown. I can't say that they don't exist and that the powers don't exist. I never say that. I merely say, show me.
While many have tried, each of these files represents a challenge, nobody has ever collected a dime. In one famous example, Randi challenged Sylvia Brown, a psychic, live on The Larry King Show. That was almost 7 years ago. While she initially accepted the challenge, she never followed through.
Finally got in touch with her through some contacts that we had, and she said, I don't know how to reach James Randi. Now, wait a minute. I'm in the phone book. Sylvia Brown talks to dead people. I'm alive, as you may have noticed. She can't find me?
We called the Sylvia Brown Corporation to ask about the challenge and received only this email in response. Our organization prefers not to comment on this story. Please note, though, if you do have psychic powers and need some extra cash, move fast. The challenge only lasts another couple of years. For Money Talks, I'm Stacy Johnson.
Guys, that's just the beginning. We're going to let the bee-slapping continue, and we're just going to pour it on. And, I tell you, a lot of times it's not nice to kick somebody when they're down, but she deserves it. John, let's pour it on, kid.
Strangely enough, there are two jagged boulders which look really misplaced because everything is trees, and then all of a sudden you've got these stupid boulders sitting there.
And he could be found near
He's near the boulders.
Is he still with us?
Well, that was famous alleged psychic Sylvia Brown on the Montel Williams show in 2003, 4 months after Sean Hornbeck disappeared. She said that Sean Hornbeck was dead. She was wrong about that. She said a Hispanic man with dreadlocks had taken him. She was wrong. And she told Sean's grieving parents where to search for his body. She, of course, was wrong about that as well. As you know, Sean was found alive, not stuck between jagged boulders, but in an apartment in suburban St. Louis. Mr. Brown's, or I should say Ms. Brown's mistakes does not end there, and it doesn't surprise famed debunker of the paranormal, James Randi, who also runs an educational foundation. He joins us now. James, thanks for being with us. What is your opinion regarding what we just saw happen with Sylvia Brown on the Montel Williams show? Does it surprise you?
No, I'm not surprised at all, because all of these people who say that they can speak with the dead, all of them, including Sylvia Brown, of course, are like vultures. They sit in a tree and they wait for the grieving to come by. Grieving people who are vulnerable and really need some help and are naive enough to think that if she appears on Montel Williams wouldn't deceive us, of course. She must be the real thing, and that's not necessarily true. And they jump on these people and charge, as Sylvia does, $700 for a 20-minute reading over the telephone. Incredible, but they believe it.
Well, I talked to the Akers yesterday, and they told me that they were only allowed to speak with Sylvia Brown on the show, not before or after, and they were told after the show that if they wanted further communication with her, they would have to pay her going rate, which I thought was $700 for an hour, but you're saying $700 for 20 minutes, and that's a phone consultation. She denies that. Her manager told us she's never charged at all.
Well, I think that's a matter of her opinion against mine.
What do you think it is that makes people go back to a person like Sylvia Brown, even though she was wrong about this case and as we've shown earlier, wrong about a bunch of others?
Well, she'll be back on Montel Williams or Larry King or some other place again, and that adds to the illusion that she is dependable. Now, I have a collection, Anderson, of all kinds of tapes that have been made of the 20-minute session that she charges $700 for over the telephone, and invariably every one of the people who sent me those tapes wanted their money back and were totally dissatisfied with it. Most of the tape consists, first of all, of giving the names of these people's guardian angels. That's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for names of other beings that they were in other dimensions in previous ages, millions of years ago. No, they want information that they have questions, burning questions, to which they want answers. And that's not what she answers for them.
And you say that what a lot of these so-called psychics do are cold readings. What's that?
Well, a cold reading is a technique, a specific technique, where you just throw out ideas and initials, things like There's something red connected with this. It's like a right color. It might be a roof of some kind, and the letter M, or maybe a double letter R, I'm not sure. But there's also something about late at night, and I smell gasoline or turpentine, something like that, and electricity is flowing. And they go on and on like this, and they'll fill a tape with this sort of nonsense, and afterwards, if the victims are gullible enough, what they'll do is they'll look back through the tape to find some sort of correlation with what she said.
So-called psychics will say, well, look, even though something can't be scientifically proven doesn't mean that it's not real or doesn't exist. Do you hold out the possibility that someone could have psychic powers?
Well, we've been offering at the James Randi Educational Foundation a $1 million prize now for many, many years. And Sylvia Browne agreed on international television that she would take the challenge. Then she announced immediately that she didn't know how to reach me. A psychic didn't know how to reach me? She can't use the telephone book? And then she said, after we told her how she could reach me, so she wasn't inconvenienced, of course, she then said that I'm not a godly man, so she wouldn't have anything to do with me. Now, wouldn't she want to take that $1 million, which she could earn inside of 50 minutes or so? We figured that's how long it would take to do a definitive test.
Well, we'll see if she responds now. James Randi, appreciate it. Thanks very much. And we should point out, we invited Sylvia Browne to appear on this program. We keep the invitation open anytime she wants to come on and explain herself, explain why she said that Sean Hornby was dead. The incredible rescue of Ben Ownby and Sean Hornby has raised a lot of questions about missing kids and the people who take them. We'll look at that and more in a special hour. Taken, Children Lost and Found, starting 11 p.m. Eastern tonight.
Guys, isn't that sad? Isn't that sad, taking advantage of people, especially when they're going through a trying time like the death of a loved one? I mean, how could you? How could you be? I mean, You know, and I want to tell you something else before we go to the next clip, and we're really going to put some salt in it. I just want to tell you something about this bastard. This is off of Wikipedia, but Sylvia Browne, born Sylvia Celeste Shoemaker, October 19th, 1936, is an American author who describes herself as a psychic and spiritual medium. She has made several appearances on the Larry King Live, was a weekly guest on the Montel Williams Show, and hosts her own hour-long show on Hay House Radio discussing paranormal issues and giving callers advice in her role as a psychic. Pay attention, guys. In 1992, Browne was convicted of investment fraud and grand theft. Her claims and predictions have caused numerous controversies, and reports of her failed predictions have appeared in several newspapers. Critics such as James Randi, with whom she has a long-running feud, allege that she is a cold reader whose readings are indistinguishable from those achieved by mentalists using cold and hot reading techniques. Press coverage has asserted that she is inaccurate overall. And can you imagine somebody like this taking advantage of somebody that just lost somebody? And let's take it a step further, because you know how we want to take a look at the legal issue, and the legal issue was in 1992. Browne and her estranged husband, Kensel Dazzle Browne, were indicted on several charges of investment fraud and grand theft. The Superior Court of Santa Clara, California, County, California, found that Browne and her husband had sold securities in a gold mining venture. Sounds like Glenn Beck, doesn't it? In a gold mining venture under false pretenses. In at least one instance, they told the couple that their $20,000 advancement was to be used for immediate operating costs. Instead, the money was transferred to an account to be used for psychic research. Bada bing! What's wrong with this woman? Taking advantage of everybody. Now you know why we surround ourselves with question marks, guys, but we're not going to stop. We're going to forge ahead until we destroy her completely. So, John, let's have the next one.
Cases, in fact, right on.
It's one thing to be a psychic predicting love or the lack thereof.
Can you tell me where my love life's going?
Nowhere.
But there's nothing funny when it comes to predicting life or death.
She's gone, honey.
Do you know where she's at?
In the house or under the house.
In that case, psychic Sylvia Browne was right. But now she's under attack.
What a horrible human being.
For being wrong about this girl.
Please, help me, I'm Amanda Berry.
Almost 9 years ago, Amanda Berry's mom went on the Montel Williams show, where resident psychic Sylvia Browne spoke of Amanda.
Don't think I'll ever see her again.
Yeah, in heaven on the other side.
The WMMS morning show in Cleveland reenacted the transcript. The host read the part of the psychic.
I hate this when they're in water. She's not alive, honey.
Not alive? Then who's this?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years and I'm here, I'm free now.
Amanda's mom is the one no longer alive. She came home from the psychic's reading telling the Cleveland Plain dealer she was devastated. She died a little more than a year later after being hospitalized with pancreatitis. Now Sylvia Browne is getting ripped on social media. Browne is a grief vampire, nothing short of evil. You didn't have to be a psychic to predict what Sylvia Browne would say about her mistake. I have been more right than wrong. If ever there was a time to be grateful and relieved for being mistaken, this is that time. Only God is right all the time. My heart goes out to Amanda Berry. There was one part of Sylvia Browne's prediction that her supporters say turned out to be accurate. The radio host read the psychic's words describing the man who took Amanda.
Is this sort of Cuban looking, short, kind of stocky build, heavy set.
Turns out the suspect is Latino with the last name Castro. One commenter posted, "Psychic wins lottery again," the headline you will never see anywhere. Instead, we saw this headline, and even we could predict what that could do to a mother's head. Jeannie Moe, CNN, New York.
Can you imagine if Amanda's Barry mother was so distraught that this was enough to push her over the edge? Could you imagine if that's the case? This bastard on national TV does this on national TV, and she's still doing it? I mean, the double reverse bada bing is not enough for this woman. And this is sad, and this is what we're dealing with. Now, I'm gonna rest my case on this, but we're gonna let Randy have the last word. Randy, take over, kid.
Well, Sylvia Browne, the unsinkable Sylvia Browne, is foundering in the water. I think her ship is going under, and I couldn't have seen a better shipwreck in all of my long career as an investigator of so-called paranormal, occult, and supernatural claims. Sylvia Browne, I've been after for 20 years now. We used to have a little thing up on our Swift blog. We used to have a little thing up there, a little clock, showing how many years since Sylvia Browne had promised on the Larry King Show that she would do tests, definitive tests of her ability to talk to the dead.
Are you willing to take his test?
Yeah, whatever test it is.
But you'd be willing to do that, right?
Yes, I would be willing to do that.
Or asking for guesses to
I don't want to even know the gender. I just want to know the name.
Okay, fine. That's fine. That's your
I'll
choice.
make it even easier for you.
Okay. Sylvia has agreed to your conditions.
Yes.
You and Sylvia will set this up. We'll use a website. We'll use my website. Sylvia Browne will take Randy up on the challenge. We'll let you know about the date and time and everything.
So, as I say, for 20 years now, I've been after Sylvia, and it looks as if she's rather getting her comeuppance right now. Amanda Berry is a name that you'll be familiar with, and that she certainly was familiar with, because during a session on the Montel Williams show years ago, remember him? He used to have integrity at one time, I believe, but that's quite a while ago. He sort of adopted Sylvia Browne, and he had her on his program regularly, once a week at least. The parents of Amanda Berry appeared on the Montel Williams show, and they were told by Sylvia, "Oh, I'm very sorry, but your daughter is dead." Sylvia said that she had been murdered.
Almost 9 years ago, Amanda Berry's mom went on the Montel Williams show, where resident psychic Sylvia Browne spoke of Amanda.
I don't think I'll ever see her again.
Yeah, in heaven on the other side.
The WMMS morning show in Cleveland reenacted the transcript. The host read the part of the psychic.
I hate this when they're in water. She's not alive, honey.
Well, as most of us know, and I'm sure Sylvia is now aware, just recently, in that dreadful episode that American history will have a hard time living down, where 3 girls were found in this man's home, this man named Castro. Amanda Berry was one of them, alive and well. Her mother had died some years before that, in something like 2006, I think it was. Amanda Berry and the other 2 girls had been imprisoned at this man's home for almost 10 years, incommunicado, not in touch with the outside world at all. And Sylvia Browne had told that grieving mother, broke her down completely, that her daughter had been killed. Sylvia Browne is a monster. She invents things off the top of her head, very carelessly and callously. She doesn't care what effect her pronunciations have on the people that she's supposed to be serving. She gets now $800 for a 20-minute talk over the telephone with the fabulous Sylvia. Now, the James Randi Educational Foundation and myself, James Randi, have been after this woman, as I say, for over 20 years. And why hasn't somebody done something about it? Well, now Anderson Cooper has joined our ranks in that he has come out against Sylvia. He says she just has no integrity whatsoever, and that's absolutely true.
Strangely enough, there are 2 jagged boulders which look really misplaced because everything is trees, and then all of a sudden you've got these stupid boulders sitting there.
And he could be found near
He's near the boulders.
Is he still with us?
Well, that was famous alleged psychic Sylvia Browne on the Montel Williams show in 2003, 4 months after Sean Hornbeck disappeared. She said that Sean Hornbeck was dead. She was wrong about that. She said a Hispanic man with dreadlocks had taken him. She was wrong. And she told Sean's grieving parents where to search for his body. She, of course, was wrong about that as well. As you know, Sean was found alive, not stuck between jagged boulders, but in an apartment in suburban St. Louis.
She's a comic figure if you're not a believer in the supernatural. But Sylvia Browne needs to be put out of business permanently. I think that can happen. And I look forward to that day. This is James Randi.
Guys, these people need to be stopped. They need to be stopped. That's all there is to it. Now you're going to say, well, Rich, what about this $1 million challenge? How do they prove the challenge? Well, guys, we're going to go right to it, and we're going to show you how they conduct the $1 million challenge. And remember, if anybody claims to you that they have psychic abilities, stop them dead in their tracks and say, wait a minute, don't waste your time with me. Go prove it to the amazing Randi and make yourself $1 million. Here's how the challenge works. John?
Psychics say they possess mystical powers, but can they really prove it? With $1 million on the line, a group of psychics were willing to step up and be tested. How did they do? Here's ABC's Juju Chang.
Calling all psychics. The Nightline interns are spreading the word. There's $1 million cash prize for anyone who can demonstrate supernatural powers. The man with the checkbook, a renowned magician and psychic debunker named Banachek.
Were you nervous that no one was going to show up?
I truly didn't think anybody would show up.
Banachek is clearly not psychic because several people did show up, including a medium, a tarot card reader, and a palm reader. But first, a little more on that money. It actually belongs to the James Randi Foundation. That's Banachek's boss, magician James Randi.
Right, I'm looking really hard.
To which hand?
This one.
No, actually, you're wrong.
Where did it go?
I have no idea where it went.
The amazing Randi has spent 30 years debunking psychic claims.
What would you say to your critics who say you just don't have an open mind?
Oh, I have an open mind, but not so open that my brains will fall out.
After confirming the money does in fact exist, we're ready to get started. Let's meet contestant number 1.
My name is Jesse Bravo, and I'm a stockbroker by day, but by night, I'm a psychic and I speak to dead people.
A psychic stockbroker? Well, he can't be much worse than the regular ones.
Unfortunately, not everyone's open to the idea. So as soon as you tell somebody you're a psychic, they have to make a decision. Are you completely crazy?
So are you crazy, Jesse?
I think we're all crazy.
Here are the rules for Jesse's test. 12 envelopes. Inside, photos of 11 random living people and 1 very famous dead person. To win, Jesse has to locate that dead person 9 out of 12 times.
Hi, Jesse. Like a game show. Go ahead. Thank you very much.
The odds of winning by luck are about 1 in a million, but Jesse, of course, isn't counting on luck.
What I tried to ask is, whoever is gone, will you please just show me which envelope they're sort of contained in?
You believe that's a dead person? Are you ready?
But the spirits didn't answer. Jesse's first pick was this girl, and she's very much alive.
That is a living person.
Attempt 2.
Are you ready? This one is a live person.
Strike 2. He was supposed to find Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley.
We know he's dead, right?
Absolutely. I'm considered very good at what I do, and boy, am I bombing.
Yep. You believe that this is a dead person?
I'm hoping so.
After another failure,
A live person.
A live person.
Internally, I was crumbling.
it's Jesse Bravo's last chance.
Wow, that was very direct. Well, that one very strongly, I'm guessing.
I'm trying different techniques.
Okay. This one is?
It's live.
Think?
Yeah.
You're right. It's live.
Jesse may have failed, but he says the problem wasn't with him. It was with the test itself.
Asking an envelope, an inanimate object, to answer a question, it's a really tough thing to do. Maybe there's other people that can do that. I'm not one of them, obviously.
Next up, two more contestants, a tarot card reader and a palm reader. Their tests require live subjects, 12 of them. We start by getting short, written biographies from each subject.
They cover things from like past tense, present tense, things that are going on in their life now, a little bit of their character, whether they're humorous or a serious type person.
Oh, and one other thing.
Why are they wearing oven mitts?
We want to hide rings, we want to hide calluses. There are so many things you can tell from fingernails and from the hands.
Now, contestant number 2.
I'm Paula Taylor, and I'm the psychic tarot card reader. I express my powers through the tarot card readings, and then I'm able to tell them about their lives.
Here are the rules for Paula's test. She'll be given the 12 biographies. Then she'll do a tarot card reading on each subject. To win, she has to match the person to the correct bio 9 out of 12 times.
How convinced are you that you're going to win $1 million?
I'm convinced. I have great confidence in my abilities.
I'd like you to have a seat, just walk around there.
Paula gets in the hot seat and starts her first reading.
So I see that you're a person that's ambitious. You're involved in your work situation. You feel like you could be making more money. Okay, I'm going to go with this one.
And this is your final answer?
Yes.
Paula's clearly gonna be a while. She has to do this 11 more times. So in the meantime, let's get started with contestant number 3.
My name is Georgia Jade. Palmistry is something that I first learned when I was 15. If you don't work in a creative field, you definitely think in a creative way.
Do you make your living as a psychic?
Yes, and I do actually do energy work and healing work, and I channel as well.
Channeling spirits?
I bring energy in, and from the angelic realms.
We have copies of the active palms right here.
Here are the rules for Georgia's test. She'll be given the same bios for the same 12 subjects, but she'll also be given 12 photocopies of their palms. To win, she has to match the palm print to the correct bio 9 out of 12 times.
This is not a lot of information to work from, to be honest. But we will work with what we have here. I'm looking at the headline on this one, which is curving down towards the lunar mount, and that would show a stronger imagination. I go with this guy because he's a filmmaker.
20 minutes of mixing and matching later, Georgia has chosen a palm print for each bio.
Okay.
Excellent. Can I get you all to stand, please?
It's her $1 million moment of truth.
I'm going to ask you to look at the bios that are on your sheets, please. If this is your bio, I want you to turn it towards the camera. Not yet. If it's not your bio, I want you to crumple it up. Now.
Crumpling. Everyone wrong.
No, you didn't get everyone. You got one right. You got one right, but you did not get the $1 million.
No.
You weren't just a little off, you were very off.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't surprise me. To do palmistry and not touch the person's hand is straight away kind of ridiculous.
If it's not your bio, I would like you to crumple it up into a ball.
But what about Paula, our tarot card reader? She's just chosen the bio for the 12th and final subject. On Banachek's signal.
Now. It looks like you've got one right. I'm so sorry, you do not get the $1 million.
Okay. I didn't feel like the cards really helped because there was no interaction with the readings.
So this doesn't make you think twice as to whether or not you're psychic?
No. I still believe I'm psychic.
What do you make of that?
It's called, what's the term? Stubborn.
Well, guys, you see how the tests are run. I mean, they're all, and I mean, he's done, there's virtually hundreds of them on YouTube. I mean, you could see guys that did it with dowsing rods, and people make all kinds of claims. And why? Because somebody is gonna buy it. It might not be you, it might not be the next guy, but somebody is gonna fall for it. And these people wanna take advantage of you. And that's why it's so sad that we let this continue. Now, the next clip is from Michael Shermer, and we shown this last week or 2 weeks ago, but you're gonna see how the con men do it. So John, let's run the next one.
Psychics say they possess.
I got a better future for me and my family.
I got a career helping others.
One phone call changed my life. I called the Khan Academy.
At the Khan Academy, we believe in you.
Heck, we believe in just about anything.
At the Khan Academy, you can be fully trained and ready for an exciting new career in the paranormal in as little as 8 months.
We know with our hearts and our minds, and because we have a dictionary, that you can't spell confidence without con. We looked it up.
That's why we work hard to build confidence in our trainees, because believing really is seeing.
Square.
Hit.
Circle.
Wow, hit.
Star.
That's amazing. You just went 10 for 10.
Really?
No, but you did get this one right.
Oh my God.
And that feeling you're having right now, your clients will feel that too. They'll remember the hits and forget the misses.
That's exactly what I'm doing. Why am I doing that?
Psychologists call this the confirmation bias, where you look for and find confirming evidence for what you already believe, and you ignore the disconfirming evidence. People want to believe, and your clients will too.
But your Khan Academy training won't stop at the classroom door. We go one step beyond with practical, real-world training.
I'm feeling a strong spirit coming through here from the other side, someone who's passed over, maybe an M name, N name. K, perhaps, no, oh wait, no, it's a L? Is it
oh my God, my Uncle Larry. He passed like 2 years ago.
Yes.
Does he have a message for me?
Hang on, he does. He says everything is gonna be okay, and that he loves you as only an uncle can.
Oh my God! There's no way he could have known that he was my uncle.
It really is that easy, so don't miss out on this amazing opportunity. Classes are starting soon, and financial aid is available.
We'll have one of our current students help you out with the lottery numbers.
I'm getting a 7.
The Khan Academy. Because you may not know what the future holds.
And neither do we.
All right, guys, now we're going to show you how James Van Praagh does his. And this guy's, he's lousy. I tell you, I'm a better psychic than him. But we're going to show you Michael Shermer with James Van Praagh. So, John, hit it.
Can a medium like James Van Praagh receive and interpret messages from people who have died? Some scientists believe that the techniques used by Van Praagh have more to do with his background than any type of psychic ability.
In my opinion, James Van Praagh is an actor who was for a long time in search of a role to play. If you read his book, if you read the interviews with him, it's all there. He grew up in the theater. He worked for Paramount Studios. He hung around Hollywood types in hopes of finding work. He finally found work as an actor playing the role of a medium, and he's now very successful.
Psychologists like Michael Shermer contend that Van Praagh's so-called psychic ability is best understood in terms of the different types of readings that anyone could perform.
Cold readings are where you literally read somebody cold. You've never seen them before, you haven't gotten information on them, and you just start throwing stuff out, lots and lots and lots of comments and questions. And the way that works is most of what you say are misses, but people will remember the hits and forget the misses, and the reason you get hits at all is through random chance.
A warm reading makes statements about people that are true for virtually everyone.
We almost all have pictures of our lost loved ones in the bedroom, next to the bed, on the hearth, over the fireplace, on the mantle where we keep these sorts of memories. So a warm reading would be to say something about that person that's true for everyone, and you're bound to get a hit, 80–90% certainty.
A hot reading is one where the medium actually digs into the client's past, retrieving seemingly otherworldly information from earthly sources.
I've had skeptics say to me that, or actually said on national television, that I actually have a computer system set up to everyone's house in the country, which I think is extraordinary, and I think I'd be the first one to tell people I had that, because I think that's incredible. I'm going around investigating people.
Information is more readily available than it's ever been in history, so it's easy to do. But in reality, I think most of the time, most psychics don't cheat like that. They don't have to. You can use these other techniques quite successfully.
Believers naturally reject such skeptical explanations and insist the skeptics are reacting to their own fear of the unknown.
Life after death makes the psychological and the medical community nervous because it's something we can't control, measure, touch, or see. And most scientists feel threatened. They feel like a loss of control when you put something underneath them that requires a little bit of belief, a little bit of faith, plus some science.
So how could one explain Van Praagh's supposed discovery of the brother Peter Redgrove never knew, and the appearance of a nun who had abused him 30 years earlier?
I often hear stories about things that Van Praagh gets that are just seemingly impossible, that I can't possibly explain. But whenever I see tapes of the whole reading, I have never once seen something that he got that he couldn't have gotten from, that I couldn't have gotten from the conversation and the feedback, that I can't explain through normal means, not once. So that tells me when I hear these stories, you couldn't have possibly known that there's exaggeration on the part of the storyteller. And when they go to see Van Praagh, almost everybody suspends their disbelief. They suspend skepticism. They want the act to be real, and they are willing participants in that.
And now with
Some psychologists tread the middle ground, believing Van Praagh's messages from beyond the grave should be given just as much credence as the advice that any of us seek from friends and colleagues.
I think that it's not a bad idea to put that on your plate alongside what the university professors are saying, and the Nobel Prize winner is saying, and your local neighbor is saying. But don't get overly attached to the channeled entity any more than you're getting attached to your neighbor or the local professor.
Van Praagh agrees and offers this advice to those who are considering a session with a medium or a psychic.
Everyone has to question things, yes, but don't be closed-minded. Be open-minded. See that life continues on. There are no endings, only beginnings.
Okay, guys, I think that's pretty conclusive, but you know what? We're going to do a little bit more on Van Praagh, and you're going to watch him fail miserably. I mean, fail miserably. And the one thing that I want you to notice, to one of the girls, he's going to say, "Was your mother buried?" And after she nods, then all of a sudden he's going to go, "Oh, yeah, because she's telling me she was buried." Well, if she's telling you she was buried, you would have known that. You wouldn't have asked the question. You see what a fraud this guy is? And this is how they do it. They just want to take advantage. Did you see all the people sitting in that auditorium to listen to him? Why? Because they want to believe. And he's taking advantage of them. So, John, let's roll the next clip and just watch this guy make a bonehead out of himself.
Well, we're back with medium James Van Praagh, who has had us fascinated all morning about the world of ghosts and the unknown. And we're going to throw it open to you with our studio audience now. Take it away and see what you can see.
Okay, sweetheart, great. I'd like to start with this lady right here who's sitting right in the first row. I have a mother figure, very strong, coming around you, okay? And with the name of either Mary, Margaret, do you understand the name? Margaret Mary, okay, Margaret Mary. And I got to tell you that I feel before she passes over, though, there's a lot of hard time to walk or hard time to get up and get things going. Do you understand that? And also a hard time. Did medicines before she passed?
Well, she was on medication. But
that's what I'm asking.
She didn't have any painkillers.
Right, but there were medications she took because I feel this very, very much before when she's coming in here. And I feel some arthritis, by the way. There's a lot of arthritis, and there's a bone problem. There's also something with the back. So I don't know if she used to sit and have a pillow with the back of her, or is that you?
No.
No, that doesn't make sense to you. Okay, and what about trouble with legs?
No.
Okay. Who has trouble with the legs now?
Well, my father's had 2 hip replacements.
2 hip replacements. He cannot walk as well as he used to.
Oh no, he walks very well.
Okay. Right. Was your mother buried?
Yes.
Because she's talking about being buried and about an wake, or a funeral rather, and she knows about it. She was very surprised by it all. And who's Kathy or Kathy? Is there Catherine or Kathy? Catherine or Kathy? Oh, she's talking about that.
Kate.
You know about this name?
Well, Kate.
Katie. Who's that?
I have a cousin now that's just
passing.
surgery.
Right now?
Come with me today, but she just had to have surgery.
Let's talk about her, and she's praying with her, okay? I also know who's Catholic, but there's someone who's Catholic background. And,
yeah, we all are.
You all are, okay.
Yeah.
So there was a mass said for her, and she wants to thank you for a mass that was said, and there are prayer cards that are said. There's a picture of Mother Mary somewhere around. Picture of Mother Mary. Would you know about this? You know about this. Picture
well,
of Mother
all
Mary.
Catholics have Mother Mary around somewhere.
Good, okay, well, I don't.
You know.
But of course, that was years ago.
That still goes on.
But Nola's mother's name is Mary, and Nola's mother died when Nola was only 6.
Oh, okay.
That was in 1950. Do you go backwards?
I do go backwards. I go backwards, forwards, sideways also. So I want to talk about something else with you, though. I said music. I don't know why about music. Did you not do music? Were you going to do music when you were younger and you stopped doing music?
No.
Okay, you never wanted to play the piano?
No.
Okay, who was that one to play the piano or music?
I don't know.
Don't know,
No
okay.
one in my family's musical.
I want to talk about this lady here. Your husband's passed over? Or your father's passed over?
Guys, if I paid him to be a psychic reader, I demand my money back. Don't give him any money. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We got a holiday. Take care, everybody.